in this profession, in these times, you were always the first woman, more or less. Yeah, you were always together with men. I didn't know any woman then. Yeah, I only knew men, because also in the film academy there were only men. So there were two women, other women, but they soon dropped in the beginning. So I was the rest. And the Springer campaign was the beginning was that I was interested to hear more about it, because I didn't understand all what was said and all the different working groups about the different themes about the Springer newspapers. And I found out that in these newspapers often are articles written for women. So how it is a woman who has not much money, but how she can make it nice for her husband when he comes from work, and how she can cook a good meal with a little money. And so every day there was an article like this in one of these newspapers. And I've, for the first time, I read continuously newspapers, and so that came in mind, there are so much said to women and about women, but there was no single working group to this point. So there were about 40 working groups about Springer, about imperialism, about Greece, about Vietnam, about economy, and so on, and 40 of these themes, but nothing about women. And so therefore I went to a group, and I was very shy then, and said, I found out that there are all these articles for women, and maybe it could be interesting to also to make flyers for women, because then maybe, because they are interested in what you are doing, they can support the whole thing. They said, go in the kitchen, there is a friend of mine and she sings also, things like this. And that was the start of the women's movement in Germany, that I went to a kitchen of another woman of a friend, yeah. And so it started. For example, I came from experimental theater. I made this years before, and I was interested in totally other things, but not in politics. I was in aesthetic questions, and so now there were all these discussions about what you have to do as a filmmaker, and so partly you could accept what was discussed, that you have to think about other themes, and that you also have to consider who is going to cinema, who is not going, what problems are treated normally in cinema, in mainstream cinema, and there was only mainstream cinema then. And therefore, sometimes it was just too much to make it in the right way, and most of the filmmakers they tried to, or who worked the way we did then, tried to keep something of this the idea, but to be less contradictions to their own aims, how to do it, and what you want to do as a person and as a filmmaker and aesthetically. Because when you are speaking with the so-called masses, often they have a very bad taste, and you cannot. No, what to say? How to say? It's often hard to bring it together. What you want to do and what others demand you to do.